40 years ago, I started my career servicing the manufacturing trade. My introduction to the factory was eye-opening. First, we went to engineering, walked over to automation, went into the research and metallurgical laboratory. Met with logistics. And then, of course, watched the skilled laborers at work. The factory was much more than I thought. Suddenly, the market swung. There was a shift. I couldn't tell you the day, but I remember the beginning of when it seemed the factories began to shut down. What do we tell our children when they ask, why don't we make that? Why can't we make a train? Why don't we make this stuff? What will I make? Why are there no factories? Most people are shocked to believe that there's no history when a factory shuts down. Suddenly, the information vanishes. How do we explain to our children what the cause of death was? Let's start when I was young. As a young person, I wanted to be engaged with the most advanced technology that was available, and therefore I thought I was pretty much going to be there forever.
I knew the possibilities of advancement would be endless.
This, for example, right here, this was a massive General Electric factory, which is now replaced by townhomes. Now in the region where we showed up for work, Roland, right? You feeling at home?
I don't even recognize it, Bruce.
It's been that long for you?
I don't believe I've been down here since I left.
So you recognize this building here?
I recognize, yes.
So this is the first building right here. And then, of course...
Oh, this is not familiar at all.
You don't remember, right?
Nope.
There's the driveway that you would have pulled into this driveway here.
Was this where Carboy used to be?
Yep.
Right there. My goodness, I would not recognize it.
Do you recall the three different unions? There was the electrical workers union. Mm-hmm. There was the auto workers union, and I can't remember the name of the union for the quality assurance.
No, I don't.
There was three different unions.
Yeah, right? my perspective on the closure wasn't so much the unions, it was just the fact that GE saw aging products which they didn't want to be involved in, and GE wants to get into higher technology, more profitable products.
The factory did not shut down because of a skills shortage.
Not this time, no.
Okay. So the factory did not shut down because the future prospects for carbide diminished.
Economies in the world, like Germany, I mean now China, India, I mean, their GDP is going up because of manufacturing. So manufacturing is important, and it just becomes a fact that they see our manufacturing costs as being too high, our labour rates are too high. But it doesn't have to be that way. We can still manufacture competitively in this marketplace.
The landscape sure has changed. Wow. Remember Kodak? There's Photography Drive. And now it's all but vanished. Until we understand the disease, we can't find the cure. Let's take this documentary to Humber College and discuss it with Professor Parveen Gill.
Canadian economy, we think manufacturing, natural resources, and services. These are three main sectors on which our economy is based. The service sector is going up. It's a knowledge-based economy. More and more people are shifting from manufacturing to service sector.
Why are we switching from manufacturing to services?
It's bottom line, it's the profitability proposition. If companies can get something at comparative advantage from a low-cost country by putting factories there, that's what they care. Unfortunately, that's what they care.
It sounds very much like globalization is a main cause of factories shutting down. What was the idea behind globalization?
The idea of globalization was actually the necessity of the developed nations, including our south of the border. Like, it was the necessity of the developed nation. What was happening here, the level of standard of living was so high, it was already saturated. People were doing very well, companies were doing well, but if the domestic consumption is not there, definitely companies, they need to produce only to sell. They will not be just producing anything to dump into the ocean. They can't do that. So they need a market for those products. So these developed nations, they started looking at the proposition of opening up the markets in the developing countries. So this entire process of globalization was the necessity of the developed nations.
Who wins with globalization?
When they opened up, there was no looking back, and it's now bouncing back to them. They're losing on jobs, they're losing on factories, they're losing on manufacturing.
This has been called a race to the bottom.
In Canada, as I mentioned before, we have all the capabilities of manufacturing. In terms of, say, Germany versus Canada manufacturing, their manufacturing sector is booming up so sharply, drastically. Look at the renewable energy, solar panels they're using. They are going into the different types of resources. More and more of their companies are now energy sustainable.